This week we read Ethics in a Nutshell by Professor Matt Deaton, and he asked us to define philosophical ethics, which is a reason-based attempt to define answers to moral questions, which means that it takes reason and evidence to define and answer moral questions. It's not just pulling it out of thin air. So he asked us to imagine that we're talking to a friend that thinks that they can't combine ethics and faith in the same area, which what I've learned from Ethics in a Nutshell is that you can use philosophical ethics to learn deeper about your faith and even strengthen your faith. It can be a form of evidence, and it justifies why believing your holy text is appropriate for you. Ethics isn't a personal preference. Ethics gives facts to define reasoning, not to prove who is right and who is wrong, which is part of Part B that has another friend that wants to know what an ethics class is and how it can actually be used. But ethics in a more applicable sense would be literally taking a question of morality, for example, torturing babies, which was the example in the book, and if that's morally right or wrong. And to be a moral subjectivist, you have to look at it and say, I believe that that guy over there that's torturing those babies is totally okay. But the stance that we've been asked to take is to take the stance of, I believe that this is morally incorrect, and not for my own benefit, I'm going to do something about it. It's applicable. A negative argument is not proving that that person is right or wrong. So if I say aliens exist, you can't prove it. But a positive argument is when I can say, hey, that guy over there that's torturing those babies, he can do what he wants. He is subject to his own opinion on morality, which is moral subjectivism. Personally, I can't tell you what's right or wrong, which would be the moral subjectivism, but I can help you define what morality is by defining your ethics first, and by knowing what the reasons are for, I don't know, it's just taking something and making it into the reason why you believe a certain thing. It just helps you justify it, helps you enhance your knowledge of it, instead of just believing something because somebody said, hey, you need to believe this. Personally, I agree with what Professor Matt is saying in his argument, because as a Christian, I'm able to supplement my faith with reason and evidence why my morals are the way that they are. It just helps. It helps justify it. Arguing that moral subjectivism is a little bit tricky. First, I want to be like, yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. They can do whatever they want. If that guy wants to torture babies, sure, go for it. But then you're like, that guy is torturing babies. Maybe he shouldn't just go for it. I think everybody should be entitled to their own belief system, but subjectivism doesn't benefit humanity, and it influences selfishness and ignorance to things like torturing babies, but it accepts those things that don't deserve attention. So moral subjectivism is just putting up blinders and saying, oh gosh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But it's taking the stance of an ethical role means that you're saying, hey, that's not okay. And you're standing up for what's right, and you're not just letting it go and do its own thing.